Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I am completing my Froggy Friday video. This is part 2. I will be using items provided to me free of charge by Beebeecraft. You can see in the upper right hand corner all of the items that were included in this kit. I have the Polymer clay cutters here in purple, a set of yellow clay tools, a set of round clay cutters, earring findings, earring cards, and little sealable plastic bags. I will be using the clay cutters, the clay tools, and the round clay cutters for this project. So again, these items were sent to me free of charge through Beebeecraft's YouTube creator program. If you have 100 subscribers or more, you can join the program where you too will receive items free of charge to use in your videos and to help promote their program. It's a fantastic thing, and I will have the link to their program listed in my description. So I started out wanting to make little tree branches, and I have this, I think it's for fondant actually, but it's a silicone mold for bamboo, and I thought that would be okay to use. Fun fact, it turns out that if you use white polymer clay to make said bamboo, it looks like skeleton fingers. I need to keep that in my back pocket for Halloween. Didn't really work for this situation, but that will come in handy. So I do end up scrapping that, and I end up forming the branches by hand. What you're seeing right now is my process in order to condition the clay. It's fairly firm when it first comes out, and you do need to sort of soften it up to make it a little bit more pliable. I chop it into little pieces, put it together, and then I do have my pasta machine over to the right hand side, and I put it through the pasta machine in order to make it flat. I'll continue to fold it over, and I keep doing this until it's the thickness I like and is also a little bit more workable. That is the clay cutter I end up using to make some leaves. It's not quite a leaf shape, but I am going to sort of fold the leaves like you would see in nature, and so it's going to be just fine when it's all said and done. I'm shaping the leaves as well as making the little vein marks on them with the yellow tools. These really came in handy. I do also end up using another cookie cutter I have that's a little bit more leaf shaped, but it's metal and it does have a seam, so I do have to go through and sort of reshape that. Here you can see the branches I actually made, and I'm using the tools once again to make the little lines that you see in tree bark. And I used one of the smaller round cutters to make a knot. Yeah, I made these lines, and then I would sort of turn it to make more lines, and I totally ended up just sort of smushing a bunch of them. Hindsight, I probably would put this on a skewer next time or something like that in order to try to make these lines so that I don't accidentally then smash them. I also used my craft knife for this. I have to say the yellow tools worked much better. The craft knife really just wanted to cut into it a little bit too much. These have all been baked according to the instructions on my polymer clay packet. I have no clue what happened to the footage of the leaves, but I used 2 different colors of alcohol ink from Let's Resin to color these in. And I'm doing the same thing to color the branches. I start out using a little bit of a magic eraser. Now, you do want to get the extra lint off of that before you use it, either with some painter's tape or Scotch tape, clear tape, whatever you have. Now that didn't actually end up working very well for the branches. I do end up using this paintbrush, which worked much better. I'm using the darker color to fill in the lines and the areas that would normally be darker, and then I'll use a lighter, more reddish color to color the rest of the tree bark. This is the glitter I'm using to pour the base of the flower tray I'm going to use for part of this. It's no longer carried by MNG Supply Co., unfortunately, but essentially it's an opal shard mix, and you can find these at pretty much anywhere that sells glitter. It's super sparkly, very iridescent, and so pretty. This is actually just clear resin, so this is what that glitter looks like on its own. I want to put this on a tumbler so badly. I'm doing multiple layers, so this layer is pretty thin. I just tease it out to the edges with my mixing tool. Here I am, popping bubbles. This is actually leftover resin, so it's quite thick. I use the heat gun to pop bubbles and also make sure it's thin enough to really cover the bottom of it. Okay, it's time to stick the branches to this now that it's cured, and in order to do that, I'm using UV resin. Again, hindsight is a beautiful thing. I colored these with alcohol ink. Did I seal them? No, I did not. So that does become a bit of an issue later. You'll see what I mean. The mushroom is going to sit on this as well, but it's going to stick out. You can see what I'm doing right here. These are actually car coaster molds, but I thought it would be kind of perfect to hold the mushroom. But I'm trying to find the right size because I am going to be hanging jewelry from the branches, so I need this round base to be small enough that things can hang on the sides of it. I also need to make sure that the mushroom cap will fit. It is going to sit out from this flower base, which will be against the wall, enough for that cap to still fit on the jar. I hope that makes sense. I use UV resin for this, so I don't have to wait for regular resin to cure. It does take a little extra UV power to cure it since it's not in a clear silicone mold. This is the first time that this being alcohol ink without having been sealed becomes an issue. I have a heck of a time attaching the leaves to the branches with the UV resin. The resin just doesn't seem to want to cure, which, duh, makes sense because alcohol inhibits the curing, and I know this, but it just didn't click. My brain was not braining. I wasn't able to attach the leaves to the branches before baking the polymer clay because I wanted them sitting at different angles and they wouldn't have stayed there long enough to get baked into that position. They would have fallen. Had I done that though, I wouldn't have had any of these problems, and this continues to be a problem all the way up until the end. Since I want the leaves at different angles and my hands are a little too shaky to hold all of this together myself, I come up with a way to set these on this little mold, which incidentally is supposed to be a mold making housing. I don't know how that works because it's silicone and silicone sticks to silicone, but okay. The first layer of the UV resin round is done, but I do take it out and cure the other side since, again, that's an opaque mold. The UV needs to be able to get all the way through it and penetrate through to fully cure it. I decide it needs a second layer, and I figure I may as well sprinkle some of that glitter in it while I'm at it. Why not? It's so pretty. I love it. And I'm just adding one more layer to shore it up. I'm also trying to level it out. I don't end up doing a very good job of this, but since it's underneath the mushroom stem, you don't really see it. I find yet another way to place these leaves in such a way that I don't have to hold them in place while the UV cures. Make sure you are protecting your hands if you're going to be doing things like this. Frankly, I sunscreen my hands every day. Am I the only one that does this? I want to make a little flat base for this round to sit on. That way I can have it standing up in the layer of resin I'm going to embed it in on the flower. I use the edge of a tray mold to do this. I can't use that mold anymore. It's lost its shine and things are sort of sticking to it. So keep those around if you have old molds. They're great for stuff like this. Now I'm using UV resin to tack this in place. When you pour resin into a mold, as it cures, it will move into the center. If you have anything sitting in it, that will move along with the resin as well. I want to make sure this is tacked down so that it doesn't move when I pour that next layer of resin. I'm just testing it out now to make sure that things are going to fit. It also gives you an idea of where I'm going to be placing things in this. Hopefully now you get a better idea of what it's going to look like when I'm done. Well, what it's hopefully going to look like when I'm done. I'm attaching UV resin to unsealed alcohol ink. You'll see in a little bit I have to reattach one of these. I'm trying desperately to hold everything in place to make sure everything works, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. This thing was just fighting with me. Hey, I got it. Uh-oh. Why is there a leaf down there on the silicone mat? Okay, I have to reattach the leaf. But keep your eye on this. And there she goes. I am so frustrated by this point. Time to get the next layer poured. And at first I was going to pour just translucent green. I definitely want to see the glitter through it, but then I decided I wanted it to look more like a sky, so I add some blue to it. And while this is curing, I move on to readdressing the mushroom cap. I really didn't like the way the pink interference looked, so I decided I want to change it. You'll see it in the end. I think this looks much better. I do need to seal in this glitter, so I use UV resin to do it. I definitely overpour one of these polka dots at one point, but I take a baby wipe and wipe it up and fix it, and it's totally fine. I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of my subscribers. I am almost at 500 subscribers, and that just makes me so happy. I think I might be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway, so keep your eye out for that. I am going to be hanging this, so I need to attach a hanger. I want it to be as flush with the wall as possible, so I'm going to be hanging it from a chain. To do this, I will be attaching jump rings, and I'll need to drill holes. I apologize if you can hear the barking dog. My window is open. It's a beautiful day here today. I have spring fever. The flower is too thick for these jump rings to fit through, so I know I'm going to have to change it up. What I do is I use these a little bit like a pinch bail. I put the ends of the jump ring into each side of the hole. I then close up the jump ring as much as I can to make it fit into there, and it just sort of sits there. I will actually seal these in better with some UV resin once I make sure they're at the correct angle for hanging. And here I'm just drilling the second hole. And now I'm putting in the second jump ring. Since I have the ends of that jump ring in each side of the holes, I can't actually place the chain directly on it, so I need to have yet another jump ring to attach. The chain needs to be long enough to hang, but not so long that it creates too much pressure on those attachment points. Once I have the correct length, I use my snippers to cut the chain link right above it, and then I attach this to the jump ring and close it up. I will also be applying some UV resin to the closure points of those jump rings just to make sure everything is nice and secure. It's been a longer video than normal. If you are still here, thank you so much for sticking with me. I promise the end result is worth it. I just flash cure these at this point, and then later on I will put it underneath that lamp for a full 3-minute cure. Once these are attached, this is good to go. I go ahead and put a couple of bumpers at the bottom of it just so that it does sit properly against the wall. And I also get some poster tack to make sure that the mushroom stem will sit and stay on that little round. And just a reminder, here's what these two look like. This mushroom is lit up from the inside, which I think I will be doing. And here they are, all aglow. Here's a close-up of the polka dots with the glitter rather than just the interference pink. And you can see the frog there too. Everything is so cute. And this is what it looks like all hung up. I have a pair of earrings I made prior hanging up on one of the branches, and the other branch could be used for more earrings or a necklace, something like that. Again, I want to thank Beebeecraft and their YouTube Creators Program for helping to make this possible. Please don't forget to check that link out, which will be in my description. I hope you like this wall hanging as much as I do, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, my kitchen cats and kittens, and I'll see you soon.